the importance of sharing our stories and other stories. Yeah. What's the importance of that? And obviously theatre is very much about story. I mean, you know, what if you have no story, there is no theatre. Interesting enough, with our improvised theatre, we do a Breathe and Fire. We rely on the audience stories, and people come away realizing how important story is. So I was just going to ask people in the group what they feel about the importance of sharing us. Why is it important to share our stories and also other stories? And Rachel, we haven't heard from you yet.
Stories, gosh, yeah, I think for me, my form of creativity, it's always been dance, and you tell stories through dance, but somebody needs to be able to understand that movement language, which if you're a ballet dancer, you might not understand African dance movements and vice versa. But I think verbally expressing and sharing your story, you get to actually connect with people and find actually we do have had similar experiences. And I think for me, the art of storytelling can hold people's attention, and you connect much more because it's there. I mean, we're talking about theatre, but in terms of sharing those stories, you get to find out that actually other people have had those similar experiences, and we learn about each other and actually expand our own horizons and way of seeing the world, because we might see the world in one way, but hearing somebody else's story, sharing their story, then you see it from their eyes, and I think it kind of opens us up as individuals. Yeah, definitely, I think it's important to do that.
There is something so beautiful about stories, isn't there, that's unlike any other way of communicating?
Definitely. And Yoma, what do you think?
Yeah. I think it is important, because when you share stories, you share experiences and you bond more, because individually, there are two expressions all that I like. All the world's a stage, theatre. What do you do on stage? You tell a story, you perform, you entertain, you invite, you draw people in, but also no man is an island. And when we're battling with things by ourselves and through our lives and experiences, etc., it helps to hear other people's stories. Other people's stories can inspire you. Other people's stories can comfort you. Other people's stories can entertain and amuse you and make you feel better. So yes, it is important to engage, and storytelling is crucial, I think, to for well-being, and it's for mental well-being. Storytelling is important in that sense for all those reasons I just listed that I've already forgotten. Entertain, inform, comfort, nurture.
And I think both what you've both said is really great, and about that connection as well. And the other thing is, isn't it great when people walk in with one perspective and can walk out of the theatre with a different perspective, having seen or heard about someone's story? Yeah. I think the theatre can be so powerful without sometimes being too preachy. In trying to get people to look at things from a different perspective. And that's the other, you know, even as black women, you know, I remember a white man saying at the end of our performance how much he appreciated listening to our stories, and as a white man, that he hadn't thought about some of those things. And I thought that is the power of theatre, and it's sometimes hard to go and have a conversation with a white man about these things. Bringing them to the theatre and getting them to hear our stories and come up with a different perspective. What a powerful way to communicate something.
Yeah.
So I think that leads nicely onto my question.
Yes. Go on then, Valerie.
What makes a story?
What do you think, Valerie?
Yeah, food for thought. And I thought, you've all mentioned it already. You said what makes a story: engaging, listening. It can be dance, it can be on the theatre, it could be music, it could be so many things make a story. And then I went and Googled it and looked up to see what makes a story. And it's open to so many interpretations about what you're telling.
Yeah.
But the most common thing is engagement. So who's ever telling you something, does it resonate with you? Are you feeling it? Do you understand it? So, and that can be through dance. You see dance and this story, what you see, you think, my goodness. And no one said a word, but it's engaged with you and you felt something. And for you, it's the emotional journey of what you're feeling. So whether it's through verbally or musical or dance or movement, that's what makes a story. We can all go and see a piece of dance and we can all interpret it a different way. We can all go to the theatre, like Crystal said, and you come out and half the theatre's crying, half the theatre's really cross.
And some of them have left early.
It happens.
Not our shows, though, Lorna. Not at our shows.
Oh no, definitely not.
Actually, on that specific piece of theatre, that half of the audience was crying. I remember coming out of there, and me and Yoma didn't agree on some of the points. Like, I was singing
We were both crying.
one way, and Yoma sing the character in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of fit that story. It's one story, but we can interpret and we can engage in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think for Black Women Let Loose is that the six of us bring to an audience that is our truth. So whether the audience believe us or not, it's our truth. It's what we want to communicate. And like Ruth said about the white male, he picked up whatever it was true for him or for his understanding. And it might not be our story, and his stories are different, but there's a truth within that. And whether it's fictional truth or real experienced truth, it's down to the interpreter how and what they've taken from it.
Yeah. And that sort of ties into what Christelle was saying there about that show, that play that we both saw. We both came out, we were both emotional about it. I mean, I was bawling my eyes out. We're both emotional, but for different reasons. Or rather, our interpretation of some characters. The story was, you know, it's tragic, but our interpretation of various aspects was different, sort of different sides of the same coin. And so we were engaged, but the story engaged us all the way through. Just as a Black Women Let Loose, Shades of Our Lives performance generally engages audiences all the way through. So we don't have people walking out.
Lock the doors.
Yeah, I would just like to add that stories, there's usually a journey, and but the authenticity is important, which is what we do. We tell our own stories. That's not to say people performing and acting other written plays, there's nothing wrong with that. But what's special about us is that we tell our own stories, and we take people on our own journeys. We share our own journeys to our audience. So that for me is essential for storytelling and for what we do and how we do it, that aspect.
And I'd just like to add that one of the definition was, for every story has a teller and a listener.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I thought that was quite a profound, obvious statement in a way, but
yeah.
So if you're on your own and you're telling your story, no one's listening, that's not a story. I know.
It is. Of course it's a story.
That's like that question. It's like that question, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound? You're telling a story and no one's listening, is it a story?